Ariel Helwani in London alongside UFC President Dana White, just hours away now from the highly anticipated Michael Bisping versus Anderson Silva main event. Dana, thank you very much for the time. Always a pleasure to do this. What a week it has been for you. But let's focus on tomorrow night first. And I actually want to start a couple months ago, Christmas Eve. You call up Michael Bisping and say, yeah, we sold out this event. You were supposed to fight Gegard Mousasi. We're switching things up. You're fighting Anderson Silva now. Somewhat unprecedented. After all the thing sold out in 25 minutes. Why did you make that switch?
Well, obviously we wanted to deliver a big main event and a big card for England. This place has always been, so great. The place sells out before we really have the main event or the card dialed in. And it just sort of came together. We have a war room that we sit in Vegas, and we start putting these fights together, and it happened. And Bisping's one of those guys, too. You pick up the phone and call. Bisping has been here for a very long time. He's fought all the best, and he's always willing to step up and fight the best.
I think you can strongly argue that he is the greatest fighter in UFC history to never fight for the belt. Does this sort of feel like his unofficial title shot, in your opinion?
Yeah, without a doubt. This is a big night for Bisping. Here back in England, in front of his country, against Anderson Silva, a fight that he's always wanted. This is the unofficial title fight for Mike.
And then the twist is, it's on Fight Pass. 2 years ago, when you guys made that announcement prior to UFC 168, no one in a million years thought that a fight like Anderson Silva versus Michael Bisping would be on Fight Pass exclusively. What's the thought process there? Why'd you do that?
Yeah, I mean, it's we're obviously making a big investment in Fight Pass. We believe there was always this thing where we used to talk about where technology would get to the point where everybody could watch a fight at the same time. You know what I mean? And now it's a reality with the internet and things like Fight Pass. Everybody can tune in, and the world can watch at the same time.
Haven't had a chance to talk to you about this fight, but it kind of feels like, given the state of that division, the winner would get a title shot. Anderson, the former king, and Bisping's never got it. Is that at stake here?
I am so not talking about title shots anymore because It's an absolute nightmare. We'll see how this thing plays out. We'll see how this fight goes, and we'll see where we go from there. We'll see.
What's it been like dealing with Anderson? You always said it was sort of like dealing with an artist, but in his older age, 40 years old now, he's been gone for a year. Has that changed at all? Is he harder, easier? What's it like?
No, it's the same. I mean, Anderson's always been the same guy. I like Anderson, and he's fun to deal with, and he's, I'm looking forward to this fight. Bisping is a fun guy who's always up for a fight, man, and always loves to pick a fight. And the energy will be ridiculous in the O2. This place is sold out. It'll be packed to the rafters. Anybody who's ever been to an event here or Manchester or anywhere in the UK, it's awesome. Tomorrow night's going to be fun. Lorenzo and I actually flew down to Southern Cal and watched Anderson train like 2 weeks before he came out here, and it's been fun.
Weigh-ins just wrapped up. It got a little heated. What were they saying to each other, if anything?
Mike was telling me he was going to smash his face. Anderson was just smiling at him and, being Anderson. So,
now, like I said earlier,
the thing is that you do know about Anderson is when disrespectful things are said, like Mike has been saying,
yes,
he comes to fight.
Yeah, he certainly went there. Like I said earlier, insane week for you guys, and I want to get into that, but I'm wondering if you feel at all like the madness of this past week has somewhat overshadowed the fact that Anderson Silva is about to fight Michael Bisping, and people are so focused on the craziness that is Conor and Nate and that drama that they actually have sort of forgotten that this is happening in 24 hours.
It's a good problem to have, that everybody's that excited for a couple of fights. So, it's been crazy. I mean, leading up to, I didn't sleep for 37 hours. I was up for 37 hours. Literally was up for 37 hours when all that thing fell apart and was talking about who's going to get the next fight, right up until I went on SportsCenter. Then I went and jumped on the plane to come here and died and slept the entire flight here. It's this business is nuts and crazy stuff happens, and as much of a nightmare as it can be, it's actually pretty fun sometimes too.
So you get the word on Monday that RDA is out. What's your immediate reaction? Are you just focusing on how do we save this thing? Are you freaking out? Did you take a knee like you've done in the past?
Lorenzo has a picture of me laying on the couch in his office after we found out RDA was out. But, obviously that sucks. And anytime that, you have a big fight and it falls apart like that. But I'm getting used to it now. So, taking it a little better than I used to. We started fishing for a fight, and I'll tell you this, man, and I see so many things online that just are ridiculous or crack me up about Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor is, I've been doing this for 16 years here in the UFC and been in the fight business for a long time. You don't pick up the phone and have conversations anymore with guys like you have with Conor McGregor. When there's a lot of people that talk publicly, I'll do this, I'd fight anybody. Nobody really means it when you're on the phone. You know what I mean? When you're on the phone and you're not in front of a press conference or doing interviews, you don't really mean it. This guy means it. He's moving from 145 pounds to 170 pounds. And he keeps this fun, man. It's fun. He will literally fight anybody. When we called him and told him what was going on, first he's like, you got to be kidding me. When he found out that Dos Anjos broke his foot. And then he's like, all right, well, I'm getting to the gym right now. I'll fight anybody. You pick it. I'll fight anybody. Let me know who I'm fighting. I'll call you tomorrow.
No preference.
No preference. No, and there's no reason for me to make this shit up. It doesn't matter. We have a fight, and whatever's happening. This guy is the real deal. He's just, when you pick up the phone, you talk to a fighter, and he's this kind of, it's a throwback. It reminds me of Chuck Liddell and these guys that would fight. They just wanted to fight. Now we'll pick up the phone and call guys that are going to make millions of dollars, and they don't want to fight. And it's a different. It's fun. It's fun.
It's obvious you had a lot of options. Why was Diaz the guy that you went with?
Well, there were a lot of different. We were looking. First of all, we went in. We laid out our lineup of fights that we have for the year, and some of these fights are committed to Fox and things like that. So there's a lot of different reasons in the decision making. But the first two guys that we were going after was Jose and Frankie Edgar, to take the fight at 55 pounds. But then I started getting calls from BJ Penn, Pettis, Uriah Faber was in the running too. Uriah and I probably talked more than any of the other fighters. So that one was really close too. And then, talking to Nate is always interesting. So we were going back and forth, and we felt like, Nate Diaz was the fight to make. It was the fight that the fans wanted to see. And, if we weren't going to be doing a title fight at 55 or a title fight at 70 with like a Lawler or something like that, then Diaz was the fight to make.
Deep down, is it possible that this sells more pay-per-views than the historic fight, champion versus champion? Because it sort of feels like there's more buzz now. The YouTube views for the press. What do you think? Is that possible?
Well, this is one of those deals where you have a fight that was about Conor moving up and trying to take another belt at 55. And once all belts were out the window, you start talking about what's a fun fight. And these two really wanted to fight each other. And, there was a lot of buzz and a lot of energy about this fight. And obviously this is a fight that people want to see. So, I think the fight's going to do very well.
Obviously, as you know, Frankie Edgar, none too happy with you this week. But I understand you guys cleared the air. Did you speak to him a couple days ago or a day ago?
I sent him a text. What are you mad about? What are you screaming about? I called and offered you the fight. You could not take the fight. Whether you're hurt, whether you're not, it doesn't matter. You were offered the fight and you turned the fight down. This is a business of opportunity. You know what I mean? When opportunity pops up, some people take it and some people don't. And yes, you're injured or whatever the deal is, but a lot of guys are injured out there. A lot of guys have, don't get mad at me because you got the phone call and you couldn't take the fight. Whether you're hurt or whatever your reason is, don't get mad at me because you couldn't take the fight. How's that my fault? I called you. First two guys I called were Jose Aldo and Frankie Edgar. Those are the guys.
Deep down inside, did it sort of kill?
And when I called Frankie Edgar, I didn't know Frankie Edgar was injured. Right. After I called Frankie Edgar, they sent me they didn't need to send me the MRI, but they did.
He thinks he lost his chance, or he may have lost his chance for good now.
Who knows? Yeah. You don't know. Like I said, this is a sport of opportunity. When things pop up, I don't know what's going to happen with Conor and Nate, and Conor might never fight again after Saturday. Who knows? You never know. So, you jump on opportunity when opportunity arises, or you can't. That's not my fault. Don't get mad at me because you couldn't take the fight. For whatever reason, you couldn't take the fight.
Deep down inside, did it kill you to not be at that press conference? And what did you think of it? Because that was one of the more explosive ones in UFC history.
No, it didn't kill me to not be there. It was what you would expect from a Conor and Nate Diaz, back and forth. It's a different kind of exciting. It's a different kind of fight than the fight that was scheduled for the 55-pound title and possible history making. But if you are a fight fan and you love fights with nasty, tough, mean dudes, this is the fight for you.
Final question, because I know you have to go. It's such a fascinating time, and Conor and you, there's been the reports of a rift, but it seems like he said a lot of nice things about you recently. You've said, is there anything have you patched anything? Can you clear that up? Because we don't get to talk to you. So
where has there ever been any signs of a rift between Conor and I? Ever than what other people read into. Not only is there not a rift between Conor and I, I respect him. I don't know who I respect more than him as a fighter. The kid, he has my absolute and total respect. There's a lot of things that are said in public, but it's the private conversations are the ones that matter. Mm-hmm. And let me tell you what, everything you see from Conor McGregor in public is 10 times more hardcore in private than it is in public. And I have nothing but respect for that.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Thank you so much, Dana. Really appreciate it, and enjoy the next week. What a time it is to be a UFC fan. We appreciate your time greatly.
Thanks.